Hello everyone and welcome to the Michigan International Speedway for the running of the STP 500, a 60-lap event here in the Sundrop Cup Series. Last week we saw Cody Goforth at Watkins Glen pick up his second career win in the National Series, second win on his season, and second win in the last 3 races. Now you have Tib Foster, who was one of the favorites to win Watkins Glen. He was crashed out early, especially with the guy behind him, DJ Curtis, both having bad days. They're looking to turn it around here and keep their run towards the chase. And as we talk about the chase, we're heading just 3 races from it. Michigan today, then Daytona, and Chicagoland to get yourself in. You got 4 drivers already locked in. Onjak, Goforth, Kukulon, Morris with their wins so far ahead of the wild card. They are all locked in. You have the rest of the field fighting for a chance to fight for a title. On pole is Tib Foster, and alongside him, a big underdog story on the outside of the first 2 rows. Daniel Kabza for Anjato puts himself second quickest. DJ Curtis third, and Joseph Strigley in fourth. Strigley sits 21st in points. A race win could get him into the chase if he can turn his luck around today. We'll be talking about all of these guys in the field that will be fighting for the race win as they come up to the front and start battling. Cody Goforth in 5th, Jay Jefferson 6th, Burkhardt 7th, Onjak 8th, Max Anderson 9th, and Dusty Neal rounding out your top 10. Irving Allison, Zachary DeLella right there. There's William Duncan, 14th in the number 33. Zach Rogers, 15th in the 62. Austin Johnson, 16th in the 51. Some underdog performances up here today. And there you see the hometown man, Logan Cloud. Years ago in the Truck Series, he almost won this race, was leading on a restart. The truck, he put it into second gear, and it crapped out on him, and the truck ended up blowing up from the lead. Cloud rolls off in the 77 in the 20th position, looking to rebound for a possible race win. Matty Porta with a poor qualifying run, 26th right here. So he's had 2 sub-20th place starts the last 2 weeks. That's not going to help him. If we get a new race winner, he could miss the chase. He's the final driver in on the wild card spot. Carson Bowers, Riley SPURLYTUBE back there. Bowers and Foster have had some down weeks. They're trying to stay inside the top group of points. And there's Colton Lane, was once the points leader this season, but now a good run today, if he can come from the back after starting 31st, could lock him in to the field of 12 for the chase. He has 0 wins, though, to fall back on. Antoine Smith, the truck winner here earlier this season, brings a new sponsor and scheme to Gemini this weekend. Ryan Butcher in the 88 near the back, and another new scheme. The Lufthansa number 03 of Adam Mitchell rolls off in 40th. It's going to be a 60-lap race. Going to be exciting. Michigan races like a super speedway with drafting, multiple lines. We'll see who will win today. 60 laps of action at the STP 500 will kick off right after this as we go down trackside for the commands to fire the engines here at Michigan. Pepsi and the NSDCA have teamed up this season to bring you the Pepsi Pole Award for the fastest qualifier in all 26 Sundrop Cup Series races this season. Today it's Tib Foster, the road course ace himself, getting a pole in Michigan. He's trying to put this car into victory lane and save him from having to worry about taking a wild card spot in the chase. We'll see if he can recover today. 60 laps ahead of us at the STP 500 at the Michigan International Speedway. With that, the engines are fired, and we're ready to go racing. 60 laps in the STP 500. Fuel window for today is roughly 20 to 25 laps. More closely, probably 21 to 23. You'll be seeing some guys coming in if we do end up green. Michigan has had some chaos in the past. We saw a good race last season here in the Cup Series, but we'll see how it is now with Michigan. This is one of the first years it hasn't taken a chase race, as Auto Club was able to snag a second date. The fans love watching the Auto Club races, so they put the night race into the chase for the Cup Series title. Auto Club rolls off as the penultimate race of the season, the 25th out of 26 events. Tib Foster's out in front looking to put himself in victory lane. He's closing on that gap where he'd have to deal with a wild card spot. Guys like DJ Curtis, Joseph Srigley, Brady Burkhart, Max Anderson, and Dusty Neal inside this top 10 alone. A win could change their season entirely. Meanwhile, for guys like Daniel Kabza, a part-time driver, just coming out here trying to win this race. And with the pace that this 04 has, we'll see if this qualifying speed can turn into race pace. It's 40 cars, 60 laps, a long way around this 2-mile oval. It's a long event. The fans love this track. We've been coming here for years in the Truck and Cup Series. It was on the initial truck schedule. We're coming through turns 3 and 4, though. Anjado leads us down a field of 40 drivers hungry to change their season, to make a statement right here. No matter what it is, we're coming off of turn number 4, down the front straightaway for the final time under pace speed. Foster and Kabza lead us down. Green flag is in the air. The STP 500 is green at Michigan. Straight line camera angle down this back straightaway gets you to see all the lines, and there's really no lines there. It's just a gaggle of cars behind the top 3 as they're 2 and 3 wide. You saw in Michigan, turn 2 is very tricky when you're in the pack. It gets so tight on you, you could end up into the outside wall. We saw a couple cars bounce off. Jay Jefferson just scraped it, but I think the 77 of Cloud might have hit it a bit harder further back as we got a battle for the lead already. 1 lap into this one, DJ Curtis put the 5 to the point there as he jumps out to the top. Look at that. The pack's already starting to split up as they come on through. We'll see if anyone else bounces off the wall. Jacob Edson will at the back. But as this race starts to rubber in, that outside line rubbers in and the field starts to spread out, you're going to see less and less of that as they are 4 wide, 4 distinct lines right there. Goforth shoved Foster through. Now Tibbs all the way hung out to dry on the outside, trying to keep it off the wall. Goforth will take that second spot. Curtis now will get a bonus point for leading a lap, and that is big for Curtis this season. He's 19th in points. A race win today wouldn't guarantee him a wild card spot, but as we're saying, we're already going to start the talk of the chase implications, because this race, you're getting down to the end, as Alloway's going to be the one bouncing off the wall back there. You're getting down to the end of the regular season, and this is where points are going to matter. Every spot matters, and race wins will matter, as Cody Goforth is looking to go 3 for 4 side by side with DJ Curtis for the top spot. It's going to be a drag race down the front straightaway. Who's going to get that lap led? It will be DJ, as the 5 takes it out to the point. Front group is already kind of spread out single file. We got a big pack of cars back here. Here's another great camera angle you're going to see heading down into 1 and 2 high atop the front stretch grandstands. You're looking straight back, and look at the lines just move. The momentum shift there. This is a momentum-based track. If you lose a little bit of time, you're going to lose a lot of time. There's not too much off throttle time. You're hitting 202, 205 even at the end of the front straightaway, getting down to about 180 as you work through the corners, maybe 170 depending on the line you're running as we're fighting back up front. But as we said, we're going to talk about the chase runs. You have drivers fighting for wild card spots inside the top 20 in points. They need a race win, though, like this 99 of Burkhart, the 5 of Curtis. Max Anderson has a shot at it, so does Srigley. Dusty Neal, 10th in points. He's the one on the cutoff right now. He sits only 3 points ahead of Anderson Reed. Reed has a race win to fall back on for a wild card spot. Dusty Neal does not, but as it stands right now, you only have 2 drivers with race wins that would be in danger of getting the wild card spot. So if you say Anderson Reed jumps up, then Dusty Neal, who would be 11th in the standings, would still claim the wild card spot as of now. But now up front, a familiar face the last 2 weeks. Peter Onjak passed Cody Goforth in the closing laps at Indianapolis to win. Goforth came home second. Goforth passed Onjak on the green-white checkered at the Glen, and Onjak finished second. So these two have been 1-2, I think the last 2 races this season won by either driver, so this could be the tiebreaker there. As you saw, Jeff Alloway was in the wall at the back again in the 91. I don't think that car's doing too well for Alloway. He's already pancaked it, I think, twice there. Morris real slow on the bottom, backing that 55 up there for BGM. Up front, though, it's Peter Onjak over Cody Goforth. Irving Allison in the 16. He has 1 race win. Now, remember, you get bonus points in the chase if you're inside the top 10 in the standings. As well, you get, I believe it's 5 bonus points added to your total for every race win you have. So Irving has 1 win. He sits 7th in points, so he's solidly in right now, but he still has a lot. Now you see DeLello Strigley. That's another 2 drivers looking to win this race and put themselves into the chase if they can do so. Strigley would have to work a bit harder, though. He's 21st in the standings. You need to be top 20s. They're 3 wide back here between the 3 Chevys. And look at that outside line working. Strigley's going to clear both Monster Motorsports guys. Well, at least DJ Curtis on the outside. And really, Michigan is a multi-groove racetrack. And we're already seeing some great, fantastic racing here. And I feel like this is even more, as Dusty Neal's going to pound the wall coming off of 2. As we said, you're still going to see that turn 2 be tricky, especially if you're in the dirty air. It tightens up so much. But we'll see if that starts to reduce as these tires wear in and as these guys spread out. But it's Onjak out in front. There's Joseph Strigley. Now, one guy that no one really cares if they win or not, as in it won't matter for the point standings, is Daniel Cobbs, a part-time driver for Onjado. He's staying inside the top 10. If he wins, he doesn't get a wild card spot just for doing that. He's a truck driver, full-time fighting to make the truck chase as they'll head to Chicagoland in a few weeks' time. But look at this front group already pulling away. That's Onjak and Cody Goforth launching away as the field of 40 streaks down this back straight away. Now you're looking, there's Morris in the 31st position. He has 4 wins. He's so far ahead of 20th that no one can get 4 wins. 2 people still can't get 4 wins, and both fall out of the wild card, so Morris is locked in for that reason. He's fighting for the regular season title, though. There's another driver fighting 4 points. That's Carson Bowers and Alex Benyako. If Benyako wins, he's 13th in the standings, still has some time, but he'd be fighting the monster guys as they are 4 wide back here now, as Downey's going to shoot on the outside, Morris on the inside. Downey's going to bounce off the wall almost into Alloway there. And you're seeing a lot. You can't really go 4 wide here. You can't get too high up because then you're going to lose it. As you see Goforth now jump into the inside of Onjak. Might have been a little side draft there. And down the front straightaway, Goforth leads that lap. 10 of 60 complete as the top 2 are launching away from Tip Foster in 3rd. And there is the pack. And as we said, if you're looking at this pack, DeLello, Curtis, Burkhart, Strigley all could win this race and get into a wild card contention for those spots. As well, Carter Friesen in the 85 has joined this top 10. He wins. He also gets a chance at the wild card spot. And Matty Porta is one of those drivers in the wild card spot, so he's trying to hope that none of these guys do it because he's the one fighting Anderson Reed for those final 2 spots. Now there's Dusty Neal, Austin Johnson, Anderson Reed, William Duncan. Duncan is 29th in points. Theoretically, if Duncan wins this race or Daytona and gets into the top 20 in the standings, he could make it. Now, as we're saying, of course, you got the guys that are locked in up there. If Anderson Reed and Matty Porta were to point their way in, that opens up more wild card spots. That's why some of the guys further down in the standings is we got a crash at the back. It's Carson Bowers and Jeff Alloway. Bowers' day is done, and that might be it in the championship fight for Carson Bowers. 9th in points entering this race. Onjak leads us back to the line. And Jeff another spin. Austin Johnson and Daniel Kobza. So Johnson, heartbreaking there, was having a great run in the 51. Daniel Kobza, who started 2nd in this race, and that is 2 Onjado cars out of it as 1 Onjado car leads. And we're under caution for the first time today here in Michigan that should probably rack this field right back up. And that right there, Alloway has not been making friends the last few weeks. They're saying that it's really just a lack of seat time. Remember, Alloway never ran an NSDCA race in any of the 5 divisions until the Cup race at I-69, and he's ran the 91 the rest of that, and he has a contract for the next 3 years at Pedal to Metal Racing to drive that car. So, and now that could cost Carson Bowers a chance at a championship. Bowers has no wins, is 9th in points, and is now, we will say Bowers is about 30 points ahead of Reed, so if Reed doesn't finish too well here, you can still get that. Bowers is going to get 1 point for finishing outside of the top 30. And that could be big in the points hunt. Otherwise, Austin Johnson, Daniel Kobza, those two really don't have a fighter in this, but of course they wanted a good finish. Now we're going to see, as everyone's going to go to work, the 44 team, they're going 2 tires there on the right. I think 4 tires would be a good call, but Zachary DeLello, Carter Friesen don't think so. DeLello is going to get that 57 out, and we're going to come off of pit road. If we can get there, DeLello, Srigley, Burkhart, Allison, Friesen will be your top 5. And now we got some alternate strategies already forming up here at Michigan. 2 and 4 tires as the whole field did come down pit road. And we'll get a quick replay of these 2 crashes, as well as a pit update when we come back here to Michigan, the STP 500 in the Sundrop Cup Series. First incident of the day, it's not Alloway that causes this. It's actually SPURLYTUBE getting into Bowers. Now, SPURLYTUBE goes to make it 3 wide. Bowers checks up in the middle of the corner. They make contact, and it just hooks the 25 right into the 91 after SPURLYTUBE moved Bowers up the track. Got real aggressive there, real close with the 03 as he came down too, on board with Carson Bowers, and really, it's not Bowers' fault. SPURLYTUBE sent it in. He's got to get aggressive and just moves the 25 up. The 91, wrong place, wrong time, heavy front-end damage to Bowers. Now, there is another incident in this. It's the 04 of Daniel Kobza and Austin Johnson. They make some contact here after Porta runs over the 04 of Kobza, hooks Kobza into the outside wall. Austin Johnson nowhere to go, right into the side of him. Thankfully, no one else hit him. First caution of the day, multiple crashes. Take multiple cars out at Michigan. Going to come back a little early here at Michigan. Zachary DeLello, Joseph Srigley, Brady Burkhart, Irving Allison, Carter Friesen, your top 5. 4 of those drivers fighting for a chance at the wild card spot. Matthew Eves, when they came off the jack on pit road, he put it into first gear to gas it up. Felt a clunk in the car. They brought it back down. Bit of an issue to the engine there. We'll see if that 47's running at full song. The only driver that made it out of that crash still running, Jeff Alloway. The rest of them, Carson Bowers, Daniel Kobza, and Austin Johnson, have been taken to the infield care center. They are being checked out right now. Hopefully will be released sometime soon. Only 7 drivers took 4 tires. Everyone else took 2. Those 7 drivers being DJ Curtis, who falls to 6th, Peter Onjak, who falls to 8th, Cody Goforth in 7th. I didn't see that one. You also have Tib Foster, who is now 14th. Sebastian Kukalon in 18th. And then Jacob Edson and Antoine Smith. Edson 30th, Antoine Smith 33rd. All 37 cars still running are all on the lead lap. What you're looking at right now, DeLello 15th in points, Srigley 21st, Burkhart 16th, Carter Friesen 14th, DJ Curtis 19th. Those 5 drivers right there surrounding Irving Allison, who has 1 win this season, if they win, they're fighting for a wild card spot, and that's what they're going to have to be doing right now. Basically, once you're outside of 13th, which is Alex Benyako, the gap from Dusty Neal down to Carter Friesen in 14th is about 40-some points, which is a bit over half a race. Now, with Dusty Neal bouncing off the wall a couple times, struggling at the back, they repaired that 94 as best they could. He's got to fight back up, try to gain some spots. You also have Peter Onjak, who sits right now 71 points ahead of Cody Goforth. That's more than a race. If Peter can hang on and keep just about 60 points ahead of Goforth heading into Daytona, I think it'll be a pretty much lock for that 44 to win this regular season title. What you're also looking at here, there's your 2 wildcard drivers as they stand trying to point their way in so they get the bonus points, because you don't get bonus points if you have to wildcard your way in. Also, what you're looking at, Max Anderson, William Duncan, Diego Yepez, maybe not Yepez too much. He's 23rd in points. Roger Ray, Alex Benyako, that's more drivers that are in this front group that if they win are fighting for a wild card spot. So as we said, we'll be talking about this all. This race, next race, and Chicagoland, all the points battles, the most important races coming down here at the end of this season. We'll see what these races bring. But Zachary DeLello, Joseph Srigley up front with Burkhart, Irving Allison, Carter Friesen. 16 of 60 complete. Green flag is back in the air, and we're racing again at Michigan. Look at Tib Foster in the back. They're already making a 3 wide, trying to make that outside line work. But you can't really make the outside line work when you don't have momentum. Everyone is pretty much gassing it up right now to get going. So you are not going to have the momentum on the outside that you would when you're up to full song there. As they shoot down the back straightaway, everyone keeps it clean. There you see him single file. Now Matthew Eves, he has to meet minimum speed in that 47. Mechanical failure is the same thing as crash damage to the NSDCA on their clock. As you see Srigley now in the 63. Friesen's all the way up to the top. Srigley is going for the race lead. Can he get a bonus point in that 63? Yes, he will. The power move on the top by Joseph Srigley put the 63 for JSR on the point here at Michigan. As Friesen's now up here, Burkhart's up here. Remember, these four are fighting for a win, and they're going to have to fight each other for this win. So now we're having the fight as Friesen is pushing Srigley down the back. We're going to take a real quick look at Matthew Eves here in this 47 because you have to meet minimum speed. The gap at the end of the straightaways is about 202. You have to meet at least that there. So 182, that's 20 miles per hour. Remember, they cut it to 15, so they're going to give Eves one last chance as we go down this front straightaway. You got the 85 and 63 fighting together with Zachary DeLello, Cody Goforth, Brady Burkhart, your top 5. Look at Curtis. He's going to get into Irving Allison back there. 3 wide as Porta and Reed get up there. Look at William Duncan getting the push from Tib Foster. They're all fighting inside this top 10 as they go. And we're looking at Carter Friesen right now. Hits the 199 into the straightaway, and Matthew Eves back here. 199, you'd have to be at 184. And that ain't enough. They're going to park the number 47 there for not meeting minimum speed after that mechanical failure. And that's a big thing here at Michigan, too, because you don't want a slow car here when these guys are coming up on you at 200 miles an hour and more, as that 47 is really far off the pace right now. 4 wide up here as Goforth is going to bounce off the wall. That's what we said. 4 wide does not work. You can't make it work coming off of turn number 2, especially down the front straightaway. It's a bit wider. See Irving taking a very shallow entry to the corner as he's going to lose a ton of time there in that 16 and drop back. As they're now 3 wide up here, DeLello, Curtis, and Brady Burkhart all over the back of him. And here comes Burkhart now. Will he make a move to the inside of Onjak? Any line can work here at Michigan. That's what we've been seeing today. And they're going to go 4 wide again as Onjak shoots up the middle. DeLello's going to try to hang off of it. Curtis, look at the power move by the 5 on the outside. And he's going to clear Onjak for that 3rd position going down the back. As the rest of the field comes at it, Joseph Srigley is all over the back of Friesen once again. And Srigley jumps to the bottom as Curtis, and that 5 has so much momentum in that car. Sauber Racing Team's Carter Friesen trying to get his win this year for this 85 team. He won last year. That's how he made the chase last season, but really wasn't a factor at all for Monster. Now you got Onjak up here, and again, William Duncan taking this Caterpillar Ditech number 33 inside the top 10, fighting the big dogs here. He's 29th in points. It would be a long shot for him to make the chase off of a win here, but I don't think he cares about making a fight for the championship. If he could get a race win in the Cup Series, his dream would be complete. Curtis and DeLello now, nose to tail. You got Curtis and DeLello. They're not making it on points. With how their seasons have gone, they have to win and then hope that Reed and Porta can make up the rest and one of them can point their way in. But right now, you could be seeing Monster Motorsports, if DeLello or Curtis race in, win this race, and then some of the other guys, Reed or Porta, race in as we're 3 wide. Curtis on the outside, hanging it out to dry up top there, and he's going to bounce off the wall, push it a little too hard. That's going to allow Friesen to jump right back to the inside, and that's going to kill the momentum on the 5 as he tried everything he could to take that race lead away. And now Onjak's going to look to the top. Don't count that 44 out. He has enough power underneath that machine to get himself back into victory lane, and he's still increasing his points lead over Cody Goforth as Goforth currently sits behind him. Porta up to 7th. There's Burkhart there. Foster even. Foster's not too safe right now with the wild card fight. He's been slowly dropping the last few weeks, but a bad finish in Watkins Glen. The 55 was at the back this whole time. He's moving that Aaron's Dream machine up here. Look at Larry Hagan, Alex Benyako as well. There's Logan Cloud getting held up by Riley SPURLYTUBE right now. SPURLYTUBE really seems like that car is not handling well after he had that incident earlier on. And now we got a whole train of cars back here. There's Dusty Neal, another big thing. Neal is the driver that is on the cutoff in the points right now for that top 10 of those guys that lock in on points, and he does not have a win to fall back on yet, so that 94 team is hoping that they can get on up there and try to be in this fight. And there's Zach Rogers. Is Rogers now meeting minimum speed? Because there is Friesen out in front. We're going to have to check this now. With all the cars that fall off the pace, you're hitting 199 at the end of the back straightaway. And Zach Rogers, yeah, even on the front stretch, he's hitting 193. So Zach Rogers is good to go. And everyone else, of course, is faster than Rogers. So they are all good to go here as we're going to go back up front and pay attention to this race now as Friesen is out in front. Onjak, Curtis, Joseph Strigley, Zachary DeLello, Porta, and Goforth. Onjak and Goforth have been the stars of the NSDCA Cup Series the last two races at Indy and Watkins Glen. But now you got Porta, you got underdogs up here, and you know the worry that's going on in a lot of these guys' minds about the postseason, and they are racing it. They're putting the best cars they can out there as Onjak is looking to the inside of Friesen. Might have gotten a nose under there, might have got a piece of him as Friesen wiggled up the track. And they know that they have to win this race to have a shot at a championship this year as Curtis is shoving Friesen down the front straightaway. Joseph Strigley called his shot earlier this season. He said this team has been built from the ground up, and he thinks they can fight for a wild card, a chase spot, if things can go right. Well, I don't think he thought things would be going right at Michigan, of all places. A fourth place starting position has been up in the top 10 all race, fighting in the top 5, and really, as we're coming to the halfway, has pace to possibly win this if he could get around and pull away from some of these guys. There you see now, where did Kukulon come from in that 19? He's shot his way up into the top 10. There's Tip Foster. There's Morris, the rest of them. Hagen trying to get that 21 in there. Ben Yako also trying to outpoint some of these guys. And it's a big day here, but again, Dusty Neal far behind Anderson Reed. Reed would be the one in that 10th position right now in the standings with where Reed is running in relation to Dusty Neal. Is now the whole field, the top 3 right there, nose to tail, looks like what they did to Cody Goforth at Indy. Onjak, Curtis, Strigley jumped to the bottom of Friesen, try to take that spot away. Friesen's going to fight back on the top. Here comes Cody Goforth in the 17. He's been making some headlines the last few races, finally getting a win as Onjak throws the block on Friesen. Now Friesen's going to shoot the middle, up 3 wide for the race lead, and this is outstanding racing we're seeing here at Michigan. Top 6 under a blanket. Now they're going to be 4 wide for the top spot, maybe. Friesen backs out of it. Curtis through the middle is going to lose a ton of time, and Peter Onjak's going to be the one taking the lead off of that. Friesen back to second, and they're still all fighting for everything they got up here at Michigan. Porta, Strigley, DeLello, some Chevys trying to work together as Onjak is your race leader. Curtis jumps around on the outside. We'll have to see if they'll try to repair that 5 under caution, or if they'll make the necessary repairs to that 5 while under green flag pit stops. They might have to, depending on how severe that damage is, because you don't want to make it worse and then total the car. You want to make it to the end of this race as Curtis is really enjoying that outside line, and he's going to power past Friesen. That's for that second spot. Cody Goforth looking for third on Carter now. And you're looking all the way back. You see Riley SPURLYTUBE, Max Anderson. That is 20th and 21st with the 12 and 28. You got 21 cars pretty much in this main front pack as they're racing for it. Now, remember the fuel window. 21 laps, we said. If you're trying to make it to the end of the race, 39 and onward would be the time to pit. These guys pit on lap 14. That means you can only make it to about lap 35 or 36, so we'll have to see how this race progresses if this could become a fuel strategy race to the end in this event. Now, as look at this front pack, 2 and 3 wide, everyone's trying to make moves, especially Kukulon has shot out of a cannon in that 19. So he's now jumping to the inside of Strigley there. Porta going to the very outside as Curtis is trying to get a run on Goforth, and that 19 is pulling this team through the field. What a drive by Kukulon, and that 19 car, whatever adjustments they made under caution, are working stupendously for the SBR driver and Sebastian Kukulon, who is still fighting for the regular season title. He and Goforth sit 71 and 79 points behind Onjak respectively with 3 races left, while 2 after this. That's big. But if this man right here, Peter Onjak, takes this win, he's just going to jump out to an even further lead. As you know, he is, right now, he has led 11 laps in this race, the most out of anyone in the field right now. That would lock him up for another set of bonus points. Curtis now going after Friesen as Goforth clears. DeLello, Strigley, Foster's up here, Morris, Burkhart, Hagen. Look at Hagen. That 21's starting to come alive here, and he's moving on through. And that Anxiety and Depression Association of America, number 21, I believe that is the sponsor there, as they're fighting now for these spots. And here they come down the back straightaway. You see that 44, and of course, he's being followed by Cody Goforth, the two biggest threats of the last few races. But now, you got the guy that has stopped both of them this season in the 19 is Sebastian Kugelon. But as we said, they pit on lap 14. You take that 20 laps, that's lap 34, which is a couple times now. You can make it to about 21, 22, maybe 23, 24 if you've been in the draft in a fuel run. So that means you can make it mostly to 38 as Foster and DeLello. Whoa! Making contact there. And they are going to save it. Burkhart had to jump out of it. DeLello had to jump out of it. Hagen's got to jump out of it. And now these guys have lost time to Morris as Morris got by, but that was really close to being catastrophic for these guys. These guys are hitting 200 miles per hour into these corners. That could have been big as Cody Goforth is starting to catch up to Onjak now, has the draft, has the momentum, and down the front straightaway, here we go for the race lead again into turn number 1. Goforth can make that inside line work, but the outside has been the king here at Michigan, and that's what it's going to be as Onjak carries off. Goforth took it just a little too shallow. That brings Friesen up here as Burkhart's going to be the one to bounce off the wall. And as we said, turn 2 is very tricky here at Michigan to get down, and if you end up pushing it way too hard, you're going to end up in the outside wall. And now what we're seeing is we're going to see some pit stops soon as Onjak, real slow off the corner. Goforth is going to carry on the outside. He will lead that lap and will try to take and clear for the race lead as Kugelon in the 19 has jumped his way into this front battle. 4 cars under a blanket here at the STP 500. You also notice Zach Rogers just a little further up on the road. He did meet minimum speed. He's not too slow that they have to black flag him. He's just off the pace in that 62. They'll have to work their way around him. But coming down now, Friesen, I think that 85, it looks like he's coming down. Friesen dropped it real low there, and Carter Friesen will be the first one in lap 36. That is meaning, and look at the field that's coming with him. I don't think that's going to be enough to make it to the end of the race pitting here, but there's really no choices. Cloud and Max Anderson make some contact getting onto pit road there. Really hard to get down to speed after you're running so fast. The 03 of Adam Mitchell already pit. And looking down the back straightaways, Goforth is your race leader. There's your top 4 that stayed out. Ryan Butcher also did. Edson, Gatlin, Downey, and Mikey Yamakaze all stayed out. There's Morris in the 55. So we'll see. And here comes the rest of them. So right now, if we go green the rest of the way, it's going to be very close for everyone. Here comes everyone back out. They're taking their time to get their fuel, their tires. Jeff Alloway, ooh, real close to Ben Yako there. So now everyone's coming back out. It looks like a long pit stop for the 94 and 99. Might be some issues there. We're going to look back up. There's Luke Evans in the 81 there. There is Carter Friesen. So that is right now the first driver on track coming off of pit road. There you see the 55 back there. So we'll see what happens with these guys. Kugelon already bringing that 19 back out. Well, the 44-17 are going to be similar, but Goforth, a lengthy pit stop on the 17. Neal is still on pit road. And that is going to cost Dusty Neal a lap. Some Curtis now. You see Goforth just bringing that 17 out. A lengthy pit stop there for those two. And there's Carter Friesen getting caught by this pack of cars that blew by him. But up in front, there is Peter Onjak. And he will cycle back into your race lead with Sebastian Kugelon in second. Porta third, Friesen fourth, Hagen up to fifth, Joseph Strigley sixth. So what you're looking at right there is your 3 guys that are trying to win this race and make the chase off of it. Strigley, Hagen, and Friesen. Porta's going to have the momentum. If Porta gets a second win, that could lock him into the chase here as he goes right past Kukulon. They're still getting up to speed. Onjak is probably going to lead at that time, but Porta is going to blow on by and give the race lead to the 20 of Matty Porta. DJ Curtis just brought it out. I think they repaired that car, and that is going to destroy him. Benyako also poorly at the back. Dusty Neal, I don't know if something happened to that car or not. Goforth had a lengthy pit stop. He's now just outside the top 15. So we're going to restack this field in about a minute here. We're going to let these guys kind of simmer around, let the leaderboard update, and we'll get an update on where these guys are running now and what these scenarios are looking like here in the closing laps of Michigan. But either way, right here was the lap that you were probably supposed to come on in and make it to the end. And right now, we're going to be very much right on the edge of it here at Michigan. But it's Matty Porta, your new race leader, over Peter Onjak second, Kukulon third. Carter, was that a yellow lights I saw? There's Dusty Neal finally coming back off. So Neal had to have something more than just pit road. He was 3 laps down. So we're going to take a quick look here, see if we can spot what happened to the 94. And a flat tire on the 94, so he must have stalled somewhere. And that is not helpful for Dusty Neal in this points battle, as we got to battle 3 wide for the lead if Kukulon sends it in, and Kukulon will. Porta, Onjak, Kukulon, 3 Season 1 veterans going at it for the race lead. Friesen, another Season 1 vet back there. Joseph Strigley still in this top 5, fighting for it all, and there is Neal and Alex Peters right ahead of these guys as they're going to have to work on through them. There's Alex Peters. We'll see how Porta gets around him as he goes to the outside. Going to carry that momentum. Onjak trying to get a bit of slipstream, I think, off of the 81. But now that's going to cost him down this front straightaway, as he will get past Evans probably by the corner. I think that 81's just getting so gapped. And now there is Dusty Neal in the 94. He's going to go down. And, oh, Alex Peters really pushing up into Peter Onjak. Or not Alex Peters, Luke Evans, I'm sorry. Luke Evans in the 81 just really pushed up into Peter Onjak, got real close. Kukulon jumps top to bottom there. Strigley's up to 4th. We got contenders all throughout this race. And if you notice a complete lack of green flag pit stops or green flag commercials, this is why, because we are seeing an amazing show right now at Michigan with 18 to go. But again, this could come down to fuel mileage, especially here at the end. If we didn't have that caution on lap 14, these guys ran to lap 21 or 22, we'd be fine. If we did not have that earlier set of spins that brought out a caution, these guys would be fine to make it to the end of the race on a 2 pit stop race. But now, what you're looking at here is you don't want to lead this race right now. Porta's using so much momentum, so much gas not being in the draft. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to make it because they all ran about 22 laps on that. There you see Zach Rogers in the 62 bringing that car back out. But this is going to come down probably to fuel mileage, but we're going to have some great racing nonetheless. Let's get a quick through the field update. Matty Porta's your race leader, side by side for second. Kukulon and Onjak, and Kukulon might even take the race lead down the back straightaway this time. He has some momentum, so we'll give it a second here to see if he can complete the pass into turn number 3. As he jumps to the inside of that 20, it's going to wash up just a little bit, but a drag race coming off the corner. Coming on down, and it looks like Kukulon's going to have the shorter line here. Onjak, what's he going to do in the 44 looking to the very bottom? Onjak might make a move for that second position. And that he will. As Porta's going to go up and block Kukulon. Carter Friesen sits 4th. Friesen wins this race, could have a shot at the wild card. Larry Hagan wins this race, could have a shot at the wild card. Morris is locked in, he's 5th. Strigley, shot at the wild card if he wins, he's 7th. In 8th, Zachary DeLello, another shot at the wild card. Jefferson pretty much locked in. He is 9th. Lane and Foster, both inside the top 10 in points. They're 10th and 11th. Anderson Reed, one of the wild card drivers, fighting in 12th, but with Dusty Neal having a poor day, that gives him a ton of points. Roger Ray, a top 15. Cody Goforth back here as well. SPURLYTUBE 15th. Duncan 16th. Butcher 17th. Cloud 18th. Irving Allison 19th. Stephen Wallace Jr. 20th. Then there's Murray, Edson, Monaco, Benyako, Max Anderson, Diego Yepez, Downey, Yamakaze, Antoine Smith, the 03 of Mitchell. There's Burkhart and Curtis. I think them hitting the wall earlier cost them big time. And there is Jeff Alloway as Kukulon has taken the lead away from Porta. And Dusty Neal is being very confident in his skills because he is not letting these guys by him. And I think that's big too. Remember, you have, well, the 81 is the first car 1 lap down, so so Neal cannot get a free pass at this point in the race. But he's still trying to fight and trying to show that he's not giving up in this fight. He does not want to lose more laps because a caution comes out with 3 to go, and you're 5 laps down. That could cost you a ton of spots, but big one comes out. You could get that as they are 4 wide back there working around the 81. Lane was all the way to the outside there, fighting for it. But we have a 4-car battle for this race lead as Kukulon and Dusty Neal are going at it, and Neal does not want to give an inch here as Porta, Onjak, Friesen fight for it. And what you're looking at here, Porta wins, could lock him into the chase with 2 wins as the wild card driver. Onjak is pretty much, if he finishes in this front 4, and this is your front 4 at the end, he locks up the regular season title, I'd have to say. He's up probably about 80 points now. Carter Friesen is the big one that is fighting for everything. Kukulon, Onjak, fighting for bonus points. Porta as well fighting for some bonus points. And safety heading into the next 2 races. Carter Friesen does not think he's going to be able to point his way in. He's fighting for it as Neal goes back to the bottom on Kukulon. Fighting for that as Porta is going to get the big momentum in that 20. Here he comes now. Monster has been the king of Michigan with Diego Yepez winning multiple races here side by side across the line. The gap tied, dead even across the line as Porta is going to take the lead away if he can take that spot from Kukulon. Now Neal is going to drop back behind Onjak and Friesen. Now Joseph Strigley. Can this second pack lead a charge up? They're 4 seconds behind. I don't think they can. But Strigley, DeLello out up there. And as we said with fuel strategy, some of these guys, Strigley's 21st in points. He's not pointing his way in. Does Strigley just run the 63 completely out of fuel until the end of this race to try to win it? You got guys that are worried about points. Dusty Neal even in this 94. He's going to have to run less laps than some of these guys. If they run out of fuel somewhere, like on the back straightaway and get towed, they could lose some laps. And that 94 could pull away. But right now, 10 laps to go next time by. It's Kukulon and Porta out in front over Onjak, Carter, Friesen in this front pack. You see that second group of cars nose to tail further behind, trying anything they can to catch up as Porta wants to take this win away from Sebastian Kukulon. Toyota has won pretty much everything this season. Morris, 4 wins. Goforth, 2 wins. That's 6 for BGM, with Irving Allison 7th with his 1 win this year at I-69. Kukulon, 3 wins in his own right. That puts you up to 10 of 15 races being won by Toyotas. Matty Porta in a Chevy. Peter Onjak in a Dodge. Jay Jefferson in a Dodge. Tib Foster in a Dodge. And Anderson Reed in a Chevy are the only other winners this season. They combined for 5 of the 15 race wins. Kukulon wins this race. It's 11 for 16 for Toyota and 8 for him and Morris alone, meaning they've won 50% of the races this season. If this 19, the Freightliner 19, can hang on out in front. He should have won Memphis earlier this season. He had it in the bag at Memphis until the same issue that plagued him at Texas World caught him out at the end of the race. It lost all power. He brought it down pit road and lost the race. He's right now out in front trying to hope that that doesn't happen again in that 19 car as Dusty Neal made his way past Onjak. Joseph Strigley in the 63, I think he's just hoping for a top 5 finish. He got his first and only career top 5 finish earlier this season at Road America when he put that car second. That could have been his ticket as Morris and Lane making contact there. Those two are fighting for the 4th position in points right there between these two as they fight down the front straightaway. But I think Strigley, if he doesn't win this race, he wants a top 5, top 10 for the team, get some marketability for it for the coming years. But Colton Lane, the inside of DeLello right there. All these guys, Strigley, DeLello, Friesen, are putting on the fight for their lives right now. And it's a great run they're seeing in the top 10. But I think with how this race has progressed, with some of the pit strategies, how this is working out, I think it's going to be down to these 4 cars up front. But I don't even think the 44 or 85 have anything for him. It's coming down to the 20 and 19 as Porta mounts a charge coming back. Has the draft down the front straightaway. Side by side across the line again. Dead even again for that top spot. Just like the finish at the Michigan race in the Truck Series. We can see a side-by-side battle. But then again, 6 laps to go. These guys might only have 3 or 4 more laps of fuel. It's going to come down once again to that fuel strategy here at the end of Michigan. But Peter Onjak, those two fighting, has brought Onjak back into the draft, back into this fight. If it comes down to fuel strategy, you could see literally any of these 40 drivers win, or at least any of the 34 that are on the lead lap win this race. As Kukulon now loses time to Porta. Porta pulls away. 6 laps to go at Michigan. It's Matty Porta out in front. Onjak fighting back there. Neal is fighting Carter Friesen as Strigley's trying to pull away. I thought I saw the caution flag out. Did not. That's another thing. If we go into green-white checkered, we are screwed. And this is what you're looking at now. This could be where it is. 8 cars under a blanket, 2 and 3 wide with some of the slower cars on track. This is scary for them as they come down the front straightaway. But now you're looking, especially, remember, after... Oh, boy. We'll talk about the points issue for Burkhardt here in a second as these guys 2 and 3 wide fighting through there. They're going to settle it down, I think. We're trying to see if these guys make it to the end. There is Jeff Alloway in the 91, maintaining minimum speed, but still losing a ton of time. Friesen has lost now 2 seconds from that front pack. It's a 3-car fight to the finish if it's going to be, and it's not going to be a new race winner, but it could be one trying to lock his way into the chase with Matty Porta out in front, desperately wanting to win this race. Jefferson starting to bring that 48 up. It's going to be too little too late when you're 5 seconds behind with only 4 to go next time. But as we said, the fuel strategy, this right here is when you're going to start seeing cars possibly coming out of running out of fuel coming down pit road. Onjak, top to bottom there. He's going to look for the race lead. He wants to get his 2nd win of the season and show his regular season might. If he can win the regular season title in 2 wins, that'd be a major sum of points heading into the chase for the 44 driver, looking to redeem himself after last season. 3 wide is Kukulon. You couldn't fit a piece of paper between the 44 and 19 as Kukulon is all over the back of him down the back. Porta powered off the outside, and there is Kukulon pushing the 44 down into turn 3. It is a 3-horse race for the win if the fuel lasts. And with any line being able to work, 3 wide down the front straightaway. If this was to the finish, this would be an all-time classic. Porta leads that time, 3 wide for the lead. They're not giving an inch here. Kukulon on the inside, Onjak in the middle, Porta on the top. Which line's going to carry the momentum coming off? Kukulon jumps out into the race lead. Porta and Onjak side by side for second as Kukulon sent it in and took it. And Porta is going to fight back to the outside of Onjak, give the lead back to the Toyota of Sebastian Kukulon. Second pack closed in just slightly, but that's not going to be enough time. Here comes the momentum coming off of turn 3 and 4 again. Jeff Alloway down pit road. More cars down. Some of the back markers that pit earlier down. 2 to go. Onjak leads at that time. Will it last down the front straightaway? 2 more times around at Michigan. Onjak won Indy. It was a long time this season until he got that first win. He hasn't been dominating like the Toyotas of Kukulon and Morris. He hasn't even won a race until Indy. Matty Porta got a race win. There you see Dusty Neal. Will he still throw a wrench into that? You still got those guys further back as they head into turn 3. If they stay out this time, they're making it on fuel as Porta might have gotten a shove from Neal, and it's going to be a 2-horse race for the win now as Neal clears the 20. Onjak versus Kukulon down the front straightaway. Onjak going a bit lower, trying to lead it. White flag is in the air. Will they have enough to make it back around? Does Peter Onjak have enough to hold off Kukulon? There you see Jeff Alloway coming off of pit road. I think they're going to clear him, though. Onjak using the outside. Kukulon in the middle. Porta too far behind. Down the back straightaway. Onjak is carrying away with this race lead. He's opened the door. He's led the most laps today in that 44, and he is making a statement. You're going to win the title this year. You're going to have to go through me again. Down the front straightaway, the 44, Peter Onjak. 2nd win of the season. He gets it at Michigan. What a fantastic show here at the end of this race. Really, this whole race, we had 1 crash. Pit strategy was key. You had underdogs up here trying to get up there like Matty Porta, Friesen, Joseph Strigley. Give Strigley a shout out. Top 5 at one of the biggest equipment-based tracks on the schedule. Top 5 finish for Joseph Strigley. It won't get him into the chase, but it will get him a great chance to get something at Daytona. And as we come around, this race is most definitely over, no matter what the ticker says. But Peter Onjak hangs on at the end. What a drive by the 44. Peter Onjak comes home with the race victory. And that was a fantastic, fantastic show. Multi-groove racing. You had comers and goers. You had that middle of the race was so exciting with about 6 or 7 guys trying to win this race, getting up there. Heartbreaking to see for guys like DJ Curtis and Brady Burkhart. You just push too hard, you get too high through 2, bounce off the wall, and it kills you. Because when you come down pit road and you try to make those repairs, something goes wrong. You lose a ton of time. And Dusty Neal, too, flat tire on the 94. That could kill his entire season there. He's going to lose points to both Anderson Reed and Matty Porta. He loses points to Alex Bignacco. I think he lost finishing 34th where he did, or 36th. That's 1 total point. Bignacco 21st. Yeah, so Neal has just dropped to 13th in the standings. Maybe even worse with Carter Friesen's 4th place run. But that's going to make the points battle even further because Carson Bowers with that crash also is going to drop out of the top 10. So now you got a big points battle that we're going to be watching as we head into Daytona next week. That's 2 more races left in the Sundrop Cup Series regular season. And speaking of the regular season, I think right there, Goforth out of the top 10. Kukulon's still going to lose about 5 points to Onjak, putting him now out 80 points. I think Peter Onjak has locked up the regular season title, and he is making it known that this year it's not going to come down to Kansas. He wants to show his consistency and a consistency into a title. But what a race we saw. Fantastic racing at Michigan today. A lot of different lines used. Thankfully, the fuel lasted for all those guys. They pit real early, so that goes to show it's real good there that they had, 23, 24. They were able to save it, so they must have been short pitting there when those guys all came in, and that must have thrown everyone off the schedule. That's why they all came down together instead of waiting a little longer. But as I said, a great race here at Michigan. The STP 500 put on a classic. And that puts Peter Onjak's 3rd top 2 finish in the last 3 weeks, complete with 2 wins and a 2nd place finish. Cody Goforth does not get to share it with him. He falls to 11th. A great race was had today here at Michigan. We head to Daytona next week, Chicagoland the following week with a Chicagoland doubleheader and return of the Truck Series. And the Mountain Dew Custom Series goes to Chicagoland as well, with the finales of the Molson Modified and Dr. Pepper Dash Series that week as well. A lot of action left to go before the chase. Who will be the champion at the end of the season? Who will be even in the 12 to fight for it? We'll see next time at Daytona. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time on the NSDCA.